In this video, I'm going to do, hoping my camera adjusts here, I'm going to do example 7, looks like, from your, let me try turning my light on here. There we go. Got a little bit of a shadow, hope that doesn't bother you too much, but this is your 5-3 notes for Algebra 2A. And this is example 7. So this is just if you need one more review of these type of problems. Hopefully you were in class for the first few examples. Remember, the goal of these problems is to rewrite them so they look like a quadratic. So we're going to be writing this one, rewriting this one. Oh, what's going on with my camera? So it looks like a quadratic, something we can solve by factoring or by the quadratic formula. So the first thing you want to do is check your exponents. And the question you want to ask yourself is, if I take my smaller exponent, so I'm just going to take the whole term, and I multiply it by 2. Remember, when we have a power to a power, we multiply. When I do that, do I get my larger exponent? Well, 1/4 times 2 gives me 1/4 times 2 gives me 2/4, which is 1/2. So it is true, if I take this smaller exponent and multiply it by 2, it equals my larger exponent. So if that's true, then that means you can rewrite it as a quadratic. And remember, I'm just writing rewrite as quadratic. The way we do this is we use this u substitution. And what we're going to do is we're going to let u equal x to the 1/4. So we want to let u equal the term with the smaller exponent. So 1/4 is smaller than 1/2, so we let u equal x to the 1/2. So then think about, in this equation, I'm going to replace this x to the 1/4 with a u. I'm going to rewrite this x to the 1/2 as x to the 1/4 squared, and then I'm going to replace this x to the 1/4 with a u. So first, let me just rewrite this equation as x to the 1/4 squared. So that's the same as x to the 1/2. So all I've done is taken this term and rewrote it this way. Then I'm going to leave the rest exactly the same. Now I'm going to do this u substitution. So wherever you see an x to the 1/4, we're going to replace it with a u. So this x to the 1/4 becomes a u, and then it was u squared. Minus x to the 1/4, we're just going to call that u. Copy the rest. Now this is a quadratic that we know how to solve. This is factorable, and if you need to do Xbox on this, you'd have -6 on the top, -1 on the bottom, so your factors would be -3 and +2. Multiply to give you -6, add to give you -1. Hope you can see that. There we go. And remember, because a is 1, we don't have to do the box. So this factors into u plus 2, u minus 3. Okay, now by zero product property, if two things multiplied together give me 0, then one of them or both of them must equal 0. We assume they both equal 0, and we solve for u. So -2 from both sides, u equals -2. Add 3 to both sides, u equals 3. Okay, now remember, I don't care about u, because the problem originally started with an x. So I can't stop now. So I gave these a squiggly underline, but I didn't put them in a box. I need to rewrite these as x's. So remember, we said u is the same as x to the 4th. So now I'm going to replace this u with x to the 1/4. Sorry, I said the 4th. I should have said 1/4. And I'm going to replace this u with x to the 1/4. Okay, now I need to solve for x, so I need to get x alone. Well, this is like a fourth root, right? X to the 1/4 is the same as the fourth root of x. So how do I undo a fourth root? I raise it to the fourth power. So I'm going to raise both sides to the fourth power. It's getting a little scrunched in here, I apologize. So 1/4 times 4 is just 1, so I end up with x equals negative 2 to the 4th is 16. And here 1/4 to the 4 is just plain old x to the 1. And then 3 to the 4th is 81. So now looks like I have my answers, but we need to check. These are these questions where we need to check our answer. So I'm going to check right here. And the way I check is I'm going to take my original equation, so I'll rewrite it here. And wherever there's an x, first I'm going to put in a 16. So I'm going to do 16 to the 1/2 minus 16 to the 1/4 minus 6 equals 0. This is the same as the square root of 16. This is the same as the fourth root of 16 minus 6 equals 0. And remember, I'm checking, so these should be question marks. Does all of this equal 0? Square root of 16 is 4. Fourth root of 16 is 2 minus 6. Does that equal 0? Well, 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 minus 6 is negative 4. So that does not equal 0. So x equals 16 is not a solution. I'm going to just put no. No, x equals 16 is not a solution. So I'm just going to cross that one out. Now I'm going to check. Might be running out of room on your paper. Now I'm going to check x equals 81. So I'm going to go right to this step right here where I had the square root of 16. I'm going to say square root of 81 minus fourth root of 81 minus 6. Does that equal 0? Square root of 81 is 9. Fourth root of 81 is 3. Minus 6, does that equal 0? 9 minus 3 is 6, so I have 6 minus 6. Yes, that equals 0. So now I can go back and say, okay, this is my solution. All right, that is it for example 7. Just one quick example in case you needed a little more review.